On January 14, 2009, Dale Harrell was attacked with a hammer while he slept in his Gilbert, Arizona home, causing multiple skull fractures. He died 3 weeks later. His wife, Marissa DeVois, had called 911 and reported that Dale had strangled her and tried to sexually assault her before their roommate Stanley Cook came and saved her. When police entered the master bedroom, they found Dale naked, face down on the floor, bleeding from the head and thrashing his arms and legs while moaning in pain. None of the details Marissa gave about Stanley matched any of the evidence at the crime scene. She eventually confessed to the murder and stated it was payback for years of physical abuse, even claiming she had been hospitalized numerous times because of Dale. Investigators found no such record of any hospitalization or abuse, and the injuries Marissa had sustained to her face and body were self-inflicted to make it look like she was an abused woman. The prosecution claimed that Marissa had murdered Dale to get an insurance settlement, stating the murder was premeditated. Marissa's defense attorney maintained that the murder was an act of self-defense. Marissa was found guilty of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison with the 25-year minimum before parole eligibility. In the early morning of May 30, 2009, a home invasion took place in Arivaca, Arizona. 3 people, Shauna Ford, Jason Bush, and Albert Gaxiola, entered the home of the Flores family, claiming to be law enforcement officers searching for fugitives. Their true motive was to rob the family to fund Shauna's vigilante group MAD, which stands for Minutemen American Defense. Shauna was deeply involved in vigilante activities along the Arizona-Mexico border. Inside the home, the trio murdered 29-year-old Raul Flores Jr. and his 9-year-old daughter Brisenia Flores after failing to find the drugs and money they expected. Raul's wife Gina Gonzalez was shot but was able to survive by playing dead. Gina even managed to defend her home by exchanging gunfire with the assailants, wounding Jason. An investigation led by the Pima County Sheriff's Department along with the eyewitness description from Gina led to the arrest of the 3 suspects. Additionally, MAD member Chuck Stonex, who treated Jason's leg wound the day after the murders, later became a key witness for the prosecution. Further evidence was collected, including text messages and recorded conversations implicating the trio in the planning and execution of the crime. All 3 were convicted in 2011, with Shauna and Jason receiving a death sentence and Albert receiving life without parole. In late May 2019, 24-year-old Esmeralda Gonzalez went missing. She was known in the Las Vegas area for her presence in the adult entertainment industry and her large Instagram following. Her disappearance set off a desperate search by loved ones. On October 8, 2019, her body was found encased within a concrete structure in the desert. Police received an anonymous tip implicating Esmeralda's neighbor Christopher Prestopino for her murder. Investigators found surveillance footage showing Chris buying concrete mix at a Home Depot around the time of Esmeralda's disappearance. Once an autopsy was done, the full scope of the crime came into view. Chris had kidnapped and sexually assaulted Esmeralda. He then gave her methamphetamine, which exacerbated her schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Chris was unaware of her condition, and when she began to act strangely, he panicked and choked her till she was unconscious. Then, with the help of his roommate Cassandra Garrett, they injected Esmeralda with pool cleaner and placed her body in the box structure with concrete. Christopher Prestopino entered an Alford plea for second-degree murder and was sentenced to 10 to 25 years in prison. Cassandra Garrett was found guilty of voluntary manslaughter with a deadly weapon and was sentenced to 8 to 20 years in prison. On the morning of May 24, 2019, 50-year-old mother of 5 Jennifer Dulos vanished from New Canaan, Connecticut after dropping her children off at school. Her estranged husband Fotis Dulos and his girlfriend Michelle Troconis soon became the focus of a criminal investigation into Jennifer's disappearance. Jennifer and Fotis were embroiled in a bitter divorce and custody battle and had a strained relationship because of Fotis' alleged infidelity and anger issues. After Jennifer went missing, evidence surfaced that pointed to a violent attack at her home, including bloodstains that were found in her garage and on her vehicle. Security footage later showed Fotis and Michelle disposing of garbage bags which contained Jennifer's bloodied clothing and cleaning materials in Hartford, Connecticut. As the search for Jennifer continued, Fotis was charged with murder and Michelle was charged with conspiracy to commit murder. In January 2020, Fotis took his own life, leaving behind a note proclaiming his innocence. Michelle is facing the possibility of life imprisonment if convicted, and her trial is scheduled for January 8, 2024. Jennifer's body has never been found. On March 18, 2023, 43-year-old mother of 6, Angela Craig, died from poisoning after drinking a protein shake laced with lethal doses of cyanide and tetrahydrozoline in Aurora, Colorado. The following day, her dentist husband of 23 years, Dr. James Craig, was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Angela had gone to University Hospital in Aurora on March 15 to get treatment for a severe headache and dizziness, where she would eventually succumb to the poison in her system. During her hospital stay, the office manager at James's practice found a package containing potassium cyanide that was addressed to him and began to Google the side effects. Once they realized Angela's symptoms were consistent with having ingested potassium cyanide, the manager reportedly told James's partner. James's partner then went to visit Angela in the hospital and told the nurses that he thought she had been poisoned, which triggered an investigation. That investigation revealed that in the days leading up to Angela's death, James had made disturbing internet searches about poisons and their detectability post-mortem. The searches included phrases like top 5 undetectable poisons that show no signs of foul play and how to make poison. Investigators also found out that James had been cheating on Angela with an orthodontist from Austin, Texas. So as Angela was seeking answers for her deteriorating health, her husband was having an affair. James told his mistress that he and Angela were in the middle of a divorce, and when she suddenly passed away, he wanted her to come to the funeral to meet his family as his friend. A request that was denied because she didn't feel it was right to meet his children under those circumstances and also didn't want to be introduced as just a friend given her feelings towards him. There was also a prior incident in 2018 where James had drugged Angela with an unknown drug because he said he planned to kill himself and didn't want her to be able to save him. James even references the incident in a series of texts between him and Angela after she first felt sick on March 6th. James's defense is proposing that his internet searches were part of a suicidal exploration and not a murderous blueprint. However, the purchase of arsenic and a rushed order of potassium cyanide contradict this claim. James's trial is set for April 2024, where he will be facing a possible life sentence.